Helluva Boss came to the Too Many Games convention this weekend with a big preview for its audience in animatic form. This, of course, got recorded and uploaded to YouTube by a user who was not certain if it was from episode 1 of season 2 or some future episode in the season. My name is Deepcut, we're gonna break it all down, but real quick, why don't you hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss it when we cover future updates like this, and while you're at it, why not come hang out with me in my Has-Been Lore Discord server? I'll put a link in the pinned comment down below. Now this preview is without color, making me question if it is really from episode 1 of season 2, as that episode should be pretty far along if it's releasing at the end of July. All the fully animated shots seem to be of Stolos as a child and his father Paimon, who was recently revealed on Twitter. Any more previews from that episode would likely get into spoiler territory, so instead I think this episode is from later in season 2, an Octavia-focused episode that connects to some of the scenes we saw in the 2022 trailer, so perhaps this episode is episode 2 or 3 of the season. In this scene, the gang is discussing Luna, with Blitz trying to discipline her. Luna says Blitz should just adopt a new hellhound, and he threatens to do that with Moxie backing him up, clearly not serious, but trying to show that he won't let Luna manipulate him into letting her get away with being bad to their clients. And suddenly, Octavia breaks in. She has some scarf on that maybe turns her invisible, or maybe doesn't, and they just don't notice her, and that's the gag. Luna notices her for a moment, but lets her go in, but Luna noticing her may just be because of her special hellhound vision, such as we saw in episode 3. Finally, in Blitz's office, she retrieves the grimoire and asks it to take her to the stars. This creates a big portal that she jumps into, and the gang will have to go after her. I love how this scene ends with Luna revealing that she knew Octavia was there all along, and was just letting her get away with it to spite Blitz because of their argument earlier. I'll put a link to the full video so you can hear it all for yourself in the description down below. This likely sets up the scenes we saw in the 2022 trailer that feature Octavia and the gang in Hollywood. In the episode, Octavia likely gets sent to Hollywood because the grimoires took stars to mean celebrities, getting her stranded on Earth, coincidentally in my own neighborhood. It is hard to say why she is after the stars, but I think what she was perhaps trying to do was return to the starry place her father Stolos took her to when she was a child and had her nightmares, where he sung the "You Will Be Okay" song to her. Her father cheated on her mother with a male imp. They are now living in separate homes, and even though her father seems to have visitation, the mother has openly called out kills on Stolos and plans to keep doing so until he is dead. She likely wanted to escape from all of this drama, and that starry place was something of a happy memory for her, the kind of place Stolos thought Lululand was that would cheer her up. Unfortunately, trapped in Hollywood, she instead seems to get lost on celebrity tours to see the stars, perhaps thinking that the bus would have taken her to that strange cosmic place instead of just the homes of BoJack Horseman or David Boreanaz. This is why she can be seen getting off the bus and tearing up the stars map, and is not in a human disguise, despite her father Stolos seemingly being in disguise later in the episode if these raised sunglasses are any indication. For whatever reason, when the gang follows after Octavia, it looks like they end up on the set of some sitcom, with Blitz getting glammed up in a dressing room and pushed onto the set where Stolos for some reason walks in his human disguise. When he heard Octavia was lost, he likely came after her as well, but would easily get lost in the charm of Hollywood. At some point, a fight breaks out with Blitz beating up and shooting at multiple big guys on set, likely people working behind the scenes. Through all this, Blitz is trying to defend a dog. I imagine the set is in fact a family sitcom, and perhaps Octavia got lost in it as well, with it ultimately serving as a parallel to what they feel the family should look like, even if it is staged, and how that differs from how messed up their family really is behind the scenes. One final shot I think maybe from this episode is Luna in her human form drinking some coffee, which I imagine happens after Luna comes along to track Octavia down, but she instead just goes off to do her own thing. Octavia's Instagram account has been gone for a while now due to many inappropriate comments from the fanbase, but she recently appeared on Stolos' account, with Stolos teaching her how to actually use the grimoire. I believe this photo is meant to take place after the events of this particular episode in the timeline of the show, and he is now teaching Octavia how to actually access the stars she was trying to find in this episode. These Instagram posts likely were meant to be more closely timed to the episode's release, but with the delays of episode 8 and season 2 with it, were posted a bit further away than expected. Plus, she really only had a few moments to figure out what she was doing before Blitz and the gang came in. I still maintain that this is not episode 1, and that the other previews we've seen of Baby Stolos and his father Paimon are from a flashback-heavy premiere in season 2. We can see in the 2022 trailer that a lot of the shots are actually from the past. There's a few that simply show a prequel to the scene in the pilot where Blitz sneaks out with the grimoire while Stolos is sleeping and lands in front of Stella and all of her friends, still only semi-clothed. There's also one shot of Stolos on the couch, making me think that the episode is mostly him moping around and thinking about his history and how he got to such a sad state, starting with how he was a child simply wanting to live up to his father's expectations, likely revealing the father's expectations to be very high, as tends to happen with powerful evil demons such as those in the Ars Goetia, and Stolos doing his best to maintain those standards until being seduced by Blitz, all because Blitz was clearly just after the grimoire and nothing else. There are also a lot of scenes with Blitz and Fizzarolli, presumably flashbacks considering how chummy they are and how they are performing together on stage. In one shot, we even see a tiny Blitz. While these may be from a separate episode entirely, I think they will play alongside Stolos' flashbacks in the premiere, making it a bit of an emotional sequel to episode 7. While there was an episode 8 meant to air between these two, it was explained by VivziePop on Twitter to be something more of a visual special meant to celebrate the show that was added later in development, with there being little to no continuity issues with it being removed for the time being, to be shared at a later time when whatever copyright issue was holding it back has been resolved. This special episode 8 seems to take place on the same night as Ozzy's from what we saw in the previews, with Blitz indicating that it had been a long night, now he just wants to get back home. This plot could have ultimately led right back to where episode 7 left off, with Blitz and Stolos home and miserable and thinking about how sad their lives are in the forms of flashbacks for us in the season 2 premiere. This has got me hyped for season 2 of Helluva Boss and this special episode 8 whenever it airs, and we have only barely a month left until season 2 premieres, so it won't be too long now. While I did say that I think these gifs are of Baby Stolos and Father Paimon from episode 1 and are unrelated to the Octavia plot, it's possible that they are just a small part of Octavia's Hollywood adventure. But what do you guys think? Let me know with your comments down below, and while you're down there, don't forget to check out the link to my Has Been Lore Discord server where we talk about the show every day. And if you want to hear some more cool lore here on the channel, consider checking out the video right here that we did on Mammon recently. He's the Prince of Greed, and while we haven't seen his face, he's a favorite of mine so far, and there's a lot that can be learned from him from VivziePop's tweets as we explored in the video. Check it out, and I'll see you guys in the Discord server.